Hi, Anthony Alfo here, and in this video we're going to talk about how to build your own pension. So what we're not talking about is your employer pension. What we're talking about is really an annuity at the end of the day. So a lot of people don't have the benefit of having their own employer pension, and they might need some additional guaranteed income to go with their Social Security, and an annuity is one option that you can consider. Now I can tell you that there's good annuities and there's bad annuities out there. And previously, I was never a huge fan of all annuities. A lot of them were very expensive, oftentimes very confusing to the consumer, and they were sold very hard by other salespeople previously. But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. There have been some new advancements in the last 5 years, and those are commission-free annuities. And why that's beneficial is that previously some of those higher commission products were stripping away some of the features and benefits that the consumer was getting. And now with the addition of commission-free annuities, there's a much better bang for your buck where you're getting some good value, and it can play a good role as being one of the financial products in your overall retirement plan. So what I'm basically saying here is that these types of annuities could be considered as a way to create a very own pension for yourself, just like other people who have their own employer pension. So people who have additional guaranteed income needs above, say, their Social Security, that they don't want to take all that risk with their investment portfolio, they could take their overall nest egg. Let's say they have $1 million, 50% being in like stock funds, 50% being in bond funds. Take a portion of that bond portfolio and send it over to an insurance company. Then the insurance company will guarantee a series of payments over your lifetime and your spouse's lifetime if you choose to set it up that way. So we'll go over the two types of guaranteed annuities out there. The first one is a pure income annuity. It's the simplest one to understand. It's a fixed annuity where you would shop it out to the insurance companies that have this, and they would determine how much of a lump sum would be needed to create a certain type of income for life or a certain period of time that you're looking to fund it. And that payment can start now or at a future date. One of the catches is that you do have to set up that date, that start date, when you go through the application process. So it's a little bit more rigid. The other annuity is a little less rigid, has a little bit more flexibility to it. This would be a fixed annuity with an income rider. And the way that this works is, again, you're going to put in a lump sum. That lump sum will actually have its own cash value that it will grow at, typically around a bond rate return, typically because the insurance company is investing it in bond-like securities, and that's how you end up getting that type of return. But the income rider has a separate value associated with it, and that value continues to grow until you decide to want to turn it on to create your income for life for you and your spouse. The benefits here is that you have the flexibility of being able to decide at any future point in time as to when you want to turn that on, and you don't have to make that commitment like you do in the first annuity option that we discussed. The other option, or the other benefit, is that you can get your money back if you decide to change your mind. So you can purchase this annuity, it can actually continue to grow, but if something were to change in your life or you have a change of heart, you can actually get your money back, where you wouldn't be able to do that in option number one. So those are the two main annuities. Overall, you can also set these up for a beneficiary. So if you or your spouse were to predecease the start of this or not get the full benefit of it, there would be a remainder that would go to your beneficiary, unlike most employer pension plans out there. So my final thoughts are, number one, determine if it even makes sense to talk about it. If you have enough guaranteed income coming from your employer pension and Social Security or a bond ladder for that matter, then it may not make any sense to consider additional income at this time. So what I would typically do is go back to your income floor, and this will probably be the last time I talk about this in this series of videos, but essentially you want to look at your overall essential needs. And I would generally stack that up with the most safest type of income, guaranteed income, where you don't have to rely on the stock market for returns. And so what I would start off with is your Social Security to determine how much of that it fills up of those needs. And if there's anything not being fulfilled by the Social Security, a lot of people, it might only account for 30 or 40% of what they really need. So then we can look at, if you have an employer pension, to add that on top. If you don't, then that's where we would look at the bond ladder, and we would look at an income annuity to see if it makes sense to add that as part of your overall financial plan's arsenal to create a reliable income stream that you do not have to rely on the stock market for some of that return. So just to kind of give it a little bit more of a visual or real life feel here, if we take somebody who's recently going to retire at age 60, they had an income of a certain amount, let's say $100,000. Well, what we would do is first, let's talk about your Social Security, when you're going to turn that on, and how much that's going to be of your overall income. If you have an employer pension, we should obviously discuss when you're going to start that and the amount that or role that that's going to play as part of the income paycheck that you need. And then the rest can be considered with the bond ladder and or an annuity, both or just one or the other. You can oftentimes compare the annuity income versus a bond ladder and do either or and see which one might be better. That's also an alternative way to go about it. But this is where I would typically start. A lot of advisors are going to start off talking about the investment portfolio, but really from a financial planning standpoint, identifying your goals and then starting with the most safest guaranteed structure to match up to your essential expenses or your work life income to create a reliable paycheck during retirement is going to be the best way to go about starting your retirement plan. So I hope this video has been helpful to talk about how to create your own pension. And in our next video, we're going to talk about how to build a growth-oriented portfolio. Thanks for watching.